What's going on, good people? It's your girl, the one and only Darker Brown, and I'm gonna let you have it today, Marcus. You can be the one and only too.
And you're here with the one and only, the outcast of podcasts, the doggone mister from doggone the south side of Atlanta itself, man. Y'all know me as Marcus. What's going on, good people?
Hey.
So what's up, Darker Brown? It is the middle of summer, close to it at least, and things are going rather good in the world. How is life treating you?
Life is great. Life is up and down, but life is great too. And I figure as long as it's not too hot and too humid yet, and I can enjoy the outdoors, I can enjoy the weather and enjoy my truck, I'm good. How about you?
I'm good too. I heard that peach season went south this year. They said Georgia lost 90% of his peach crop. And
What?
I'm very disappointed because I love peaches, and peaches are probably going to be a little bit expensive this year.
Oh, that's so sad. What happened? What had happened?
They said we had like a cold snap in March that killed all the flower buds, and that pretty much wrapped up the whole season.
Yo, climate change matters. I need my peaches.
But, climate change only matters to people who actually believe in science.
Or just bad politics. Even those who believe in science still believe nuclear energy is the way. So it's not the science. If it was just the science, we wouldn't be here. But there's like ideology behind it too.
You wonder how certain ideologies get melded together. I mean, I know that's another topic for another time, but you just wonder how certain people become bedfellows. You wonder how the ignorant non-science right movement gets entwined so deeply in the corporate America. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like they should be polar opposites.
It's funny you should say that. I actually have a slide from my job that shows you the political alignment and timeline as to when it happened, as to why we have a conservative mixture of groups today. So yes, for another show, I'd be happy to show you that slide.
Well, I'll take a little sample. Look, I'm curious as hell. Now give me just a little bit. What was the precipice? Where did it begin at? What was the genesis? Was it the 50s, the 80s?
So let's see. Probably for like the 50s, I think, 40s, 50s, and there's just this political alignment over time that builds like they're aligned enough on things, right? They don't fight about the small stuff like we do. You know what I'm saying? They're bigger picture folks. And so with that, they have more people who are willing to move in the same place. Plus the system is built for those people. So when you have people who are worried about the small things also working with a system that's not built for them, right? It's different how people move and how long it takes for things to happen. But yeah, the reason the conservatives are so powerful is because they've been building up political alignment over the last several decades. And there's your history lesson for the day. You're welcome.
Look. And we'll roll that right on into our first topic, talking about how the Christian conservative and corporate movement got together and gave us the current Republican Party, which gave us our first time impeached by a state prosecutor, first time impeached by a federal prosecutor. It's probably have at least two, one federal, one more state indictment coming, one Donald Jonathan Trump. Let's talk about it. He was indicted by Jack Smith for the illegal documents case, in which we're finding out all kinds of just ridiculous nonsense that under any other circumstances would disqualify someone from ever even pretending to think they were going to hold any kind of federal job of any significance involving any kind of intelligence material at all. Talk to me.
So one thing, I was reading an article about the documents, and they're like, oh, and even the one picture where you can in the bathroom where you can see like the box of tissue. So I remember going back, I was like, why did this person write about the box of tissue? Like, why is that significant? So I go and I look in the picture, and it was like it was right by the toilet. So in other words, they didn't have a roll of toilet paper in this bathroom. They had a box of tissue. Like, what, are we in college? You know what I'm saying?
But I'm gonna top you one. Please tell me you saw the fucking chandelier on the motherfucking toilet. How did you miss that?
Maybe I
Go
did.
back and look at that picture. There is a fucking chandelier above the toilet. I shit you not. I wish to God I was lying.
No, I mean,
hey, chandelier over the fucking toilet.
He needed something to spend money on. When you have a lot of money, sometimes you have a lot of stuff, and
Look, that is legitimately, and I know we're getting sidetracked a little bit, but that is legitimately the richest rich people shit I have ever seen in my entire life. You got a damn chandelier over your fucking toilet?
Yes. Yes. And I think to your point about like him being indicted on the state level, the federal level, multiple times, you know, we can't all be wrong. Like there's no government plot. I mean, that's the idea of the United States. Is like, yes, you have a federal government. However, states have like a bit of like autonomy, right? They kind of operate separately. And so, yeah, no, we can't all be wrong about Trump.
Right. And to me, the meat of the whole conversation around Trump and my outrage behind everything has just been around how hard the media and now reading the article from Rolling Stones that came out today, looking at how hard people have gone to go out of their way to not hold this man accountable. I can't for the life of me understand this concept of we can't indict anybody. I don't give a damn what his former job was. A, that was his former job. B, it appears he was running a criminal enterprise out of his fucking former job. C, if he was black, you wouldn't give a damn what his fucking former job is. So I can't for the life of me understand why we're trying to find rules and regulations and precedent and historical precedent and this, that, and the other to keep ourselves from locking up a criminal. A criminal. Keep in mind, the only defense for Donald Trump right now would be if Joe Biden specifically had those classified documents planted in Mar-a-Lago. And nobody, not one single person has made that defense because them documents was flown from the White House to Mar-a-Lago. So there is no defense for this situation. Because if I, regular Joe Smo, has classified, no, not even classified, if I got some government shit in my house, and Uncle Sam tells me, Marcus, I want my shit. And I say, Uncle Sam, I gave you your shit. And he says, Marcus, I want my shit. And a year later, Uncle Sam busts in my fucking door and he don't find the shit he thought he was going to find. He finds 35, 40,000 boxes worth of the shit that I got. What's going to happen to me? I'm going to jail when Uncle Sam leave the house, I'm leaving before him because they're taking me out in handcuffs. And that's it. They probably never. I'm going to Guantanamo Bay. You never see me again.
Right.
This motherfucker had boxes in the bathroom. He had boxes on the stage at Mar-a-Lago. He had boxes in his fucking sock drawer. He had fucking classified documents in his fucking bathroom with his chandelier.
Wow.
And y'all telling me we can't arrest this motherfucker? Come on now.
So I heard something the other day that I thought was really interesting from a lawyer person that I had not considered. And I want to tell you, you tell me. So it's my understanding that I think is it the FBI has to protect, you know, each president after they're not president. Like it used to be like 20 years. I think it's like 10 years now or something like that. So that being said, if Trump did go to jail, that means the FBI would have to go with him into prison.
They've been working that out. They've been working that out with these cases already.
But they're saying, but it would make more sense for him to actually be like on house arrest at the house. What do you think? No?
Lock his ass up. And that's another problem.
With him? I mean, that's a feast of purpose. You're not supposed to be protected in prison without giving up something, some booty. I don't know. I'm wrong.
Why are we protecting him? Listen, why are we protecting him? He took the nation's.
He is a president, and therefore he receives FBI protection for a certain amount of time. That's the rule.
I get it, right?
Yeah.
And if he had done like Barack Obama, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and every other fucking president in the history of this country, and not obstructed the fucking government from repossessing their property that he's stolen from him, he would be treated just like the rest of their asses too. But again, because he chose to steal boxes, pallets upon pallets of classified information and storm in his fucking country club where Chinese spies have already been found going through there. We don't know who else been in and out of there because we know they don't have any logs talking about who's been in and out of Mar-a-Lago in the last 2 years. To me, I don't care. If you cared about the office, you would have respected it and you wouldn't have done what you did. The fact you've done this And this is just the tip of the iceberg, mind you. They're still not really talking about all the spies that have died since Donald Trump has left office, all the international assets that have died or been compromised since Donald Trump has left office. They haven't talked about that yet because they don't want to talk about that. Because the implications of that, and y'all talking about let's not lock this motherfucker up on an open and shut case. Come on, man. I just don't like how Republicans are so quick to point out this two-faced legal system and not recognize the hypocrisy staring you right in your face. You're absolutely right. There's a two-tier justice system.
No, but they do understand the hypocrisy. Yes, they do. And there's a duality that comes with whiteness and white supremacy. Right? It's like what is for me is not for thee. And and I think, and again, and I've said it and I will say it again, it's because of white women. If someone cannot tell you what is right or wrong, or tell you no, or tell you can't have it both ways. You see what I'm saying? They've been raised. That's what happens when people don't have guidelines and like barriers and boundaries for themselves and other people, and don't respect those things, don't respect someone else's bodily autonomy, or wanting them to have economic prosperity, even though, to your point, the duality, like you love business, obviously. So don't you want more people to be able to buy your stuff? No, obviously, because you want more people, I guess, being able to work for you and not being able to buy your stuff so you can always have a workforce. You see what I'm saying? Like there's a duality in existence that comes with whiteness and white supremacy, and it is a mental illness.
And I want to add on to what you're saying in a story that just came out this week about the Southern Baptist Convention evicting two churches because they had female pastors, white women. How are you not seeing what is being done, not just to you, but in your face?
Yeah.
Okay. If they had their way, it'd be the Proud Boys would be making all the laws and all the rules.
Right.
And ask yourself who are Proud Boys? Not ladies, not white ladies.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you wouldn't qualify to be a Proud Boy, you don't qualify to be a part of this, crude old white Christian nation that they want to build. You're not part of it. Take that to heart. You start voting accordingly. Oh, they're the biggest part of the problem, because if that minority would actually recognize that they were a minority and start voting in the benefits for minorities, it'd be game, set, and match. It wouldn't really
stand up to your husband and slap your fucking child, especially that boy, when he acts a fucking fool. That's it. That is it. Stop letting your husband run all over you and you kowtow to that fool, because all those Proud Boys all have girlfriends and wives and children. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Come on, man. I don't want to hear that.
It's just amazing, man. It's like problems in the neighborhood. One bad family moves in and it ruins everything. And let's out one group of spoiled ass children that just can't take a loss. They can't take an L, and they're literally just going to reverse facts in history to make it fit their narrative. It's like, no, you can't do that.
Mental illness. You are talking about, generational curses and things. Like they are passing down mental illness through how they raise their children.
The good thing about it, I think now, is we're at an era technologically where it's so wide open and it's so in your face, it's only on you to choose to ignore it. You know what I mean? Look at,
yes,
George, that situation. Look at January 6th. Look at how they treat January 6th. Look at how all of a sudden the FBI and Secret Service are the bad guys. The black cop that shot Ashley Babbitt, who was on her way to kill the House and the Senate if she could have got their hands on any one of them. All of a sudden, he's a thug. This is cop now. The cop that had his knee on Derek Chauvin's neck for 8 minutes. He wasn't a thug. No, he was doing his job. He was stopping a black man from resisting arrest. But this black man who was actually stopping an insurrectionist, a terrorist who was on her way to obstruct and kill as many members of Congress and the Senate as she saw fit. Oh, that's a thug. To this day, that orange motherfucker gets his orange ass on stage and continues to call that black man a thug.
It's ideology. Some people are more valuable than others. That's white supremacy. Absolutely. That is the ideology. That is the value. So if you're leading with that, then shit, yeah, he's a thug. Yes, Ashley Babbitt is a martyr. No. So, no.
Terrorist.
Yeah.
Former military person who absolutely shat on her oath of office and said, fuck it. I believe this. This is how it is. Damn everybody's vote. I can't have my way. We're not going to have a government.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's what this whole movement's about right now. That's what this whole MAGA movement is. Our parents didn't whoop our ass. We were never told the world didn't revolve around us, and what we say goes.
And you know what? I'll give you a perfect example that I think solidifies exactly what we're talking about, because I saw it in a commercial the other day. I said, that's some white folks doing that white shit. It's a Duracell commercial. And you see this little boy is screaming his head off. What this commercial is, the remote to his electrical car went dead. She puts batteries in the remote and gives him the remote so he can go back and play. And I'm thinking to myself, that commercial offends me in so many different ways, because if any child is yelling, like, you need to be able to communicate. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. White children are allowed to express the full range of their emotions. Black children have not been able to express their range of emotions without some kind of punishment. You know what I'm saying? Or they're being
verbal or physical, goddamn.
It's not cute. That little boy does not get to yell to get what he wants. You're going to give him a battery so he can go play? No. This is a teachable moment. You don't get to yell for the thing that you want. Maybe you need to go do something else. Maybe you don't get the car right now. Oh, you don't like it? Go sit down. We don't care. We don't care. So anyway, sorry. That commercial made me cry. I was glad to finally be able to talk about it.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's just funny how even the big problems have real small, simple, you know what I'm saying, origins. And you can work back to that origin. It's like fix shit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't be right. You know what I mean? It's like you lost an election. It's not complicated at all. You lost the fucking election. You never polled above 50% when you was in the office. It's not surprising that the majority of the country said, no, you're fucking batshit crazy and I'm tired of this shit. Yeah. Sooner that half can admit that they lost, the better we will all be.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Period. Now, back to happier things. Darker brown. It is, like I said earlier, we're walking into the summer of 2023. What kind of plans are on the agenda this year for the single darker brown living her best life?
Y'all, I'm like, 36 hours in, maybe 48 hours into online dating. Oh my goodness. I started my account on Friday. I was getting my hair did, and I was talking to my stylist, and he was like, tell him I'm afraid. Some people are crazy. I watch a lot of scary movies. I don't really know. He's like, you should try it. He's like, you should. I'm on Black, and I'm on what was it, Hinge. I was like, well, I had the Black app on my phone. I just didn't finish my profile or whatever. So I sat there in the chair and finished my profile. And here we are. And my phone is blowing up all the time. Feels pretty good. You have to ask me a follow-up question.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I had to mute out there for a second. Now go ahead. My bad. Rewind that. I had a lot going on.
You have to ask me a follow. I don't want to just talk. You have to ask me a follow-up question.
No, go ahead. No, please go, because I was lost for a second.
You weren't even listening to my story?
I had something going on in the back.
No, you're fired right now. You're fired.
So yeah, tell me about the brother.
You were not listening. That is not what I said. Okay, so I'll just give you more details.
Okay,
so
please.
What I'm figuring out is actually a lot of work to manage the apps, like you have to, the likes and the hints and the messages and the matches, and then deleting some folks and talking to some folks and being like, nah, and then am I supposed to talk first? To let him talk first? I don't want to be too forward, trying to figure out the unspoken rules, and one of my favorite things is really the profile pictures and the profiles people put up, because you can tell so much about somebody about what their front page profile picture looks like. I have seen some of the people are living in alternate universes thinking that somehow, and now I could be wrong, I'm sure there's somebody out there for them, but good God, man, this one dude clearly is a hood nigga, was posing with grapes in like some weird, sexy fashion. Like it's just really weird, the stuff that you see. And this one guy said that his name was Concierge, which I think is hilarious in the first place. And then he had the nerve, no, the nerve to put an apostrophe on the end of his name. I'm like, bro, you are not fucking fancy. You're not. And the picture was him with like some weird 80s sunglasses and a turtleneck. And I have a thing about men in turtlenecks. In a double-breasted suit. You know what I'm saying? Like he was sexy. I was like, bruh, you are like, I don't know what world you are living in. It's fine though.
Well, look, let's rewind a little bit. I was gonna say, because you said you don't want to seem too forward, but I would think that when you're dating online, being forward is probably your best weapon, because at least for yourself, you're filtering out bullshit that you wouldn't even remotely be interested in.
So no, that's very true. So I will say that there was one guy that came off the app and I gave him like my own phone number, my Google phone number. And we were texting or whatever. And he said he wanted to like call or whatever. So we spoke. And in his interaction with me, I was like, like, for instance, he was like something about some food. I was like, yeah, sure, food. And he's like, what do you like? I was like, I'm not super picky or whatever. And I was like, whatever, you just tell me, And he was like, oh, well, I still want to, know what you like or whatever. And I'll send some ideas. I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, if I hate it, I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, oh, so you like to take a stand. You like to take a stand. And I'm thinking to myself, like, first of all, like, how like a conversation is kind of like tennis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it really wouldn't feel like a good game of tennis. Second of all, I'm like, it's just food. If you think I'm taking a stand over food, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm an activist. So like, I'm gonna take a stand on a lot of shit. And so right. I don't want to overwhelm you, sir. So I ended up actually not going with him, because when I went back, because I also got some coaching from another friend of mine on some of the unspoken rules. And she was like, you don't have to have like a full profile, but there should be some other stuff on there. And I realized all that he had was pictures. He didn't like have his age or any of that shit on there. And so I used that as an excuse. And I was just like, but I took a look at your page and saw there's really not much to go on. So I prefer not to go out like today or whatever. Right, so he's been texting me and getting at me or whatever. I'm like, I might do a call, but I don't know. We're going to see.
But honestly, we kind of like that anyway. I think secretly a man would like prefer to be, and this probably doesn't help a cause, but I think, we like the hunt, so to say. You know what I mean? We don't like it to be too easy. So I guess I get where you come from with it being too forward. But at the same time, in online situation, I understand, just because it's just so much bullshit you have to deal with when you're online. Like I don't look at being forward as a problem at all.
Mm. Well, I appreciate that. And I think to your point, I was kind of like dancing between how to talk to him on the phone, because he also said, he was saying something, and it felt like he was waiting for me to say something. And I didn't really want to be on the phone anyway. And so at some point I was like, so what's up? I was like, so what's up? Like, what's up? And he didn't really have nothing to say. And I'm just like, you can't, I cannot always be prompted to start things. Like, that's just not, you come up with food, you lead the conversation. You said you called me back. You see what I'm saying? So like at some point, and there's some people like I won't chat with no more because you keep giving me like short answers, but you're not like asking or engaging me. And so like, I'm not dragging you.
I think a lot of times, especially early on, people are so afraid to reveal their real selves that they put up a front that sometimes put them out of a situation that they would have been in had they not put up a front. You know what I'm saying? And that comes back to just being honest. And unfortunately, online, it's like the culture of online life itself is to be dishonest at pretty much every avenue possible. And it's always been that way. You know what I mean? It's like you're only like, not to sound shallow, but like your only real defense, one, is to like have an immediate video conversation just to ensure that you at least cut out at least 50% of the bullshit they can come at you with. You know what I mean? At least they can't come at you with age and fucking, you know what I'm saying, visible lies and shit. You get past that, but I don't know, it's a lot of bullshit out there, and it's a lot of bullshitters. and I watch too much catfish, and I've seen things that I didn't think possible. Like people go long and hard with their fucking lies in order to keep somebody interested in them, and I'm like, yo, it's
that's a lot.
crazy, man.
Yeah, no, that's a lot. No, speaking of a lot of the bullshit and showing your real self. So I showed my real self by accident. I'm a dork in real life. Like I'm goofy. I've heard multiple times in my life that I'm goofy. So here was my goofy moment as I'm trying to figure out this online dating thing, which I think is hilarious. So I'm talking to this one guy. He seemed really cool. We doing like voice notes back and forth. And I was just talking to him, like, oh, I love Tubi movies. I love trashy TV. That's like my favorite thing. He's like, oh, cool. I was like, I'll watch one. What's your recommendation? I was like, oh, have you seen Stepmother 1, 2, or 3? And he was like, no. I was like, oh, you gotta check it out. Erica Mena is great. The third one just came out. Blah blah blah. He's like, cool, I'll check it out. So fast forward, the next morning, I woke up and I said, Lindsay, it's probably not a good idea straight out the gate to recommend a movie about a woman who seeks out single men with teenage sons and kills them to a single man who's got a son. And so I texted him in the morning. I was like, what occurred to me? Like I was crying laughing to myself this morning. Like good job, Lindsay. Probably not the best recommendation. I was like, because you don't know me like that. And I told like, sorry, I really didn't mean it. And I really did just enjoy her performance, whatever. I was like, I'm not like a crazy person. And he thought that was funny. I was like, I'm just goofy like that. What you see is what you get. My bad, Charlie.
Right, but the fact that you apologize for it, at least now if he makes the inference, or if he did make the inference, he's not scared anymore because you put it out there in the open. And that's some pretty funny shit at the same time. So that's like a win. That's the inadvertent win, but at least it touches close to home because that's probably like his greatest fear. And boy, if he only knew yours, only because I know you personally, he probably wouldn't be as freaked out.
Right. He was a good sport about it. He didn't like freak out or whatever. But like even those small things like that, you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like if I had received like Stepfather or like a movie that's equivalent, or like Fear, the movie Fear with Mark Wahlberg. You see what I'm saying? Like, ooh, I love this movie. You'd be like, I don't know. So I realized in that moment, it's like be more like pay attention to what you're saying to people. And context is everything.
Did he like the movie though, or did he not check it out yet?
He hasn't told me yet. I don't know. I'm waiting.
That is too funny. That is too funny. Well, Doc, we've actually been rolling for about 30 minutes now, so I just think this might be the perfect place to wrap up. Because man, I wasn't expecting to go this long. So I guess next week you're gonna have to come with us about Darker's travel plans for the upcoming hot summer. We're gonna make this a reoccurring segment.
Absolutely, I have so many more stories to tell. Yes, I cannot wait.
Yes, dating stories, travel stories on the way. Well, Doc, if you don't have nothing else for the people, I think we can get on out of here. You want to shout them out before we go?
I love y'all. Come back and see us. There will be more.
You damn Skippy. We're going to keep you entertained and educated all at the same damn time, folks. So until next time, y'all keep it breezy, folks. We out this thing. Peace.